Hello and welcome back to Open, everyone. You know, always inviting you to get social with us. That's right. Tweet us at BronxNet TV and tweet me too at Rhina Valentin. Our next guest is an award-winning Armenian-American pianist who made her orchestra debut at the age of 14 and by the age of 23 made her first debut at Carnegie Hall. She's an award-winning pianist, a world traveler who's graced the stages of the most prestigious halls. And this month, she'll be performing a solo recital inspired by New York entitled The New York Connection at Carnegie Hall. And we have a clip of one of Kariné's astonishing performances. Let's take a look. Such fabulosity. Joining us now to share more about her upcoming concert, please welcome pianist Kariné Poghosyan.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Oh my goodness, we have you here in studio. And shall we just open up and share with the guests how we were just admiring your dress? You're like, oh, beautiful dress. But I hear that's one of the things that stands out about your performance. Of course, it's all about your piano playing, but let's talk. But I hear your fashion makes statements as well. That's what I was told.
It's part of the package, of course.
It's part of, and I also understand that you're very colorful in the way you present, and comical as well sometimes.
Well, I take enormous responsibility in the fact that people came and devoted 2-3 hours of their life to sit there and to listen to incredible music, and it's an experience. It's not just listening. It's an all-encompassing experience. Definitely feel that.
So, at what age did you start playing?
I started very, very young, and formal lessons began around age 7. But the funny thing is, I actually was really terrible at first. I was very lazy, as most kids are. I didn't want to practice. And then around 13, 14, a shift happened, and I just fell in love. And I just couldn't stop practicing. I just would get lost in the world of music. So it was a beautiful
Is that
moment.
because you never stopped practicing?
Possibly. I think definitely at that age, I think most kids experience a shift, and that definitely was the case for me. Around 13, 14, something just changed, and I found that in music you can tell stories. That was so inspiring, and I would just get lost in the stories. It was just too interesting to get out of that world.
So how do you create your stories?
I think it has to be incredibly personal. I mean, I always begin with quite a bit of research, and I research the composer and where he or she was in his personal life at the time of the composition of the piece. So that definitely helps and creates a certain context, which of course this program I'm putting together at Carnegie Hall is so perfect because all the composers have lived actually in New York, or at least visited and worked here for a certain amount of time. And I am living here in New York, so I can actually walk down 40 blocks from where I live right now and see the apartment building where Rachmaninoff lived for the past 30 years of his life. It's just so inspiring. But also as far as the story, I think it has to be something very personal that hasn't been created yet, something that's just yours. That's why each artist is so unique.
So, all right, I have two questions. I'm like, I'm all excited. I'm really excited to meet you because I just wonder what that must feel like to grow in your artistic development playing at Carnegie Hall. I mean, you've been playing since you were 23 years old. We're not going to talk about how old you are now. However,
I can say it's okay. I'm 38.
so you've been playing, how many times have you played at Carnegie Hall?
This actually is super exciting. I've played at the small recital hall, Wild Hall, 5 times. But this particular one is my debut at the Zankel Hall, which is much, much bigger space. So it's a very, very exciting experience. Looking forward to it.
Do you know how many artists, how many performers dream of just making it to Carnegie Hall once?
Right. It's amazing.
It is
It's
amazing.
a blessing.
It is amazing. So what is it that you think, right? I know it's a little challenging to talk about yourself, right?
Okay.
But we're going to talk about this because you mentioned something about personalizing it and making it your own. So, you don't have to give us your secrets. But what? But you have something. You have something that is like really like, oh my gosh, it just like takes over your whole spirit. I mean, you were my morning music this morning. And I was like, oh, we have to play something for our audience so that they can feel that. What is that?
I think the magic of it is that you cannot describe it. That's the actual magical thing about it. There isn't something you put your finger on and say, oh, that's what she's doing. I really don't know. It's just something that's in me. It's almost bigger than me. It's almost something that has chosen me rather than I have chosen it. And believe me, there are so many moments when I just want to, just be lazy and not do these things and not practice. But it is bigger than just one egotistical personal moment. It takes over and you have to then commit. And I think it comes down to the fact that music transforms people. And especially in the world we live in today, there is, I feel, such a need for that invigorating transformation where you go into a concert hall and it is not just an escape. It's not just that you put problems away for 2 hours, but it is an actual transformational experience where you leave the concert hall a completely different person. You are re-energized and you're reborn and you feel inspired to tackle these big problems that you were intimidated by before. And I really believe in that, and that's my big why. That's why
That's your
work
big why.
hard.
Is that how you created or you came up with the title, the New York City Connection? Because we move so fast, right?
Right.
And what you just shared with us is that let's just all come together and just kind of like borrow from each other and contribute to each other is what you just said. And instead of just coming and escaping for that moment, take a piece of this with you.
Right. Well, the most incredible thing about New York is that it is such a cosmopolitan city. And I remember my first impression when I first got here, I immediately felt at home. And I think that's the beautiful thing about this city where everyone feels like they belong, no matter what language you speak, what religion you adhere to. And so I think as a musician, that's something I deeply connect to because in music, you go directly to the person's heart. You're not seeing skin color and all these dividing outer things that now in this world is in our face all the time.
Yeah, unfortunately, but that's why we're here. We're here to counteract it.
That's why music, I think, overcomes that. And I'm excited to do that next week.
Oh my goodness, we're excited that you're here sharing it with our viewers. And we're so glad you had a moment to come and stop by our studios. And I want to share with everyone where they can see it, right? Because the concert's coming up. And once again, Kariné Poghosyan she's going to be performing at the Zankel Hall at Carnegie Hall on Thursday, June 7th at 7:30 p.m. It's funny because we're talking about a pianist. All of a sudden, my voice changed, right? So for tickets, you can go to carnegiehall.org or you can call 212-247-7800. Once again, that is Kariné Poghosyan. All right, you guys, we got to take a break, but stay tuned because Bobby C's weekly sports roundup is coming up next.